Hi, my name is Dr. Scott Young, and today we're going to talk about NESARA, GESARA, and what we're going to specifically get onto is how do you live with a high value of money? Coming right up. Okay, so how do you live in a high value of money? Well, first off, you need to kind of pick up a book, okay? It's called Revelations of the Red Pill. And so I think if you pick this up, it's at drscottyoung.com, it'll help you pick through some of the information, okay? So let's talk a little bit about the how this debt society actually works, okay? And so when you have two different types of societies, you have debt-based societies, and then on the other side, you have a value-based society, okay? So one of the things that happens in the debt society is that the money is called fiat. And that means that it is debt-based, meaning that it has inflationary and deflationary points. But really, mostly, it's all about inflation, okay? So that they make money by the debt inside of it because it's tied to the debt or the national debt, as if you owe that national debt. You've never done anything to make that national debt happen. They have done it all. That's the lie of the society, okay? And the other thing that happens inside of here is the amount of lies are just fantastic. It's almost hard to imagine how many lies they do to perpetuate it. They allow these groups like this, they allow the government, they allow media, they allow Hollywood freaks, and they put movies out and all of this other stuff to perpetuate their lies. And it's all to build up this fiat debt currency. It's all the way to handle this. And some of you are going, what? Trust me, it's exactly how it works. This is how they prop this stuff up. But it's smoke and mirrors. The other thing that they try to tell you is that this is just too hard to understand. It's so hard, let money managers get it, okay? And you're saying, well, wait a second, why shouldn't I be able to understand my own money? Why do you have to really have money managers? I'm not saying you don't have to have them. I'm just saying that you need to take a much more active role. Now, frankly, I'm a business person, audiologist. I have my doctorate in audiology, and yet, when I first was getting into business, I didn't understand accounting issues. I remember very clearly the bookkeeper asking a question on the phone, and then I wrote it down, and then I'm trying to ask the tax accountant, and the tax accountant said, did she ask for this? And I'm like, I don't know, because it was a whole bunch of like accounting ease. And I was like, can't you guys talk to one another and leave me out of it? Now that's actually the right answer for most people in the world. And yet it's the wrong answer for people who want to understand their money. And that was one thing that I broke down in my own life and studied intensely. And it was actually a preparation for NESARA kind of stuff. So I had to understand what money was doing. The other thing is the debt points that you personally get into, that you buy on credit all the time, which allows you to pay it off over a time frame. Okay? So, but you're not really paying it off. You're always just constantly in the levels of debt. Okay? Now let's skip over here for a second, and we're just going to go over to a value-based economy. Now, here's one of the things that happens. Money has the value, and debt is not desired. Now, how am I saying that? Well, here's the thing. If you go back and talk, and some of you have never experienced the greatest generation and what they thought through. These are the people that were born, you know, a little bit earlier than 27. Maybe they were born around the 20s. So they lived through the Great Depression in kind of different ways, and they're growing up during that time frame. And they were taught the value of money, because at that time frame, we were on the gold standard until 1933. So these are the first people that really understood it, that you waited to pay for things. You waited to pay for things, okay? So you had to not have debt, and it was a bad situation that you said, I don't want to get myself into debt. And they would talk this way. It's because they hate lies. And it's really hard to lie to these people. Okay? Because what they really wanted to have is hard information. Okay? It's real interesting that happens here, because the value is on tangible, hard asset points. And that changes mentality over here, where the person on this side, when they use marketing, it's much more about the fluff. It's about different things like pay off over time frames. It's about buy one, get one free. Okay. BOGO. Sorry. Buy one, get one half off kind of thing. So those are the kinds of things, and there are always a lot of too good to be true kind of things. Whereas marketing over here changes into a value-based system. It's about relationships. And so what happens inside of that situation is like, what can you give me? Because I've got this valuable currency, gold-backed currency, and we move into this value point of relationships. So what will happen, you're going to start seeing businesses, while they're actually reducing the prices, so prices go down, the value increases. Okay? So, and I hear this stupid thing. Please, guys, break this off of you, because it's something that I know a lot of people want to say. Oh, we're going to go back to 1950s pricing. And I've said this about 3 billion times. My parents bought a car when I was real sick as a dog, 1976. Okay, I'm 10 years old, and they bought this Ford Granada, and it was Ford Granada was $5,000 at the time. So, and I drove that car until everyone in my family wrecked it. I mean, all three of the kids and both of my parents both all wrecked the thing, and it was barely hanging on together. And I mean, it had roll down windows. It had AM radio. It didn't even have FM. I think I upgraded it to FM radio with that too. I mean, the speakers were messing up on it. I mean, I would armor all the thing until the seats would rip apart. I mean, it was just, it's not anywhere near the technology. Can we compare even 1976 pricing to what we have today? When we have much more technology. No, we cannot put the same thing on it. Stop saying that, okay? Because you're going to start seeing those prices go down, but it's also going to have to increase the value. And what we're also going to see is it's going to be a lot more local kind of stuff, because only local can create the relationships, and they can be fast movers. So you're talking about smaller businesses increasing the value because you want to know what's happening to it. It's because here's what's going to happen. There's a level of distrust that will occur because we're coming out of this system. When we come out of this system and into this, there's a distrust that happens. So the person that is selling is going to have to increase the values of everything. That's the really, really interesting part of this. So to increase the trust, or to decrease the distrust, you have to increase the value, decrease prices, so that you can compete. Now here's the thing. Small businesses have always been about competing. They actually understand it. They live it every single day. I'm a small business owner, okay? And here's the funny thing. Big businesses can compete too. They just hate it because they want to control it. They get scared of it and they use their power to knock it down. So they mess up with competition. Here's actually what happens. This actually favors big business over here. Big business, first off, what they will do is they will control. So what they do, here's what happens, and it's happened over and over again. So there's a small businesses in a town. The big business comes in and she will drop her price to an incredibly low level that the small businesses can't possibly compete with. And so basically wipes everyone out. And then when they're all gone, the price goes right back up to a higher price than ever happened before, with actually less innate value inside of it. And you're going, this isn't any better, but then I don't have any other choice. That's how they catch you. So what they do is they knock the price down so low with these really fluffy, ugly kind of things of buy one, get one free, control you so that they can dominate the market. This is the whole process of this, okay? So they get you in a low value, low capability, and then they offload the jobs to wherever, okay? India. And so we have the same problem, and it's like, there's nothing wrong with the people in India. The problem is they don't need to be in our market. They need to be in their own market. And that's actually going to happen in NESARA and GESARA. So when we come into this kind of thing, they're going to be doing the same thing in their own environment. I want them to, okay? It doesn't mean that you're never going to have big companies. That's not it. But they're going to have to compete on the same kind of playing field because the value of the money happens. The other thing that's going to happen too is that people are going to be really careful of greed. It doesn't mean that greed goes away, but greed will not be a heavy driver necessarily. Again, it's because value and relationships pop up. The other thing that you're going to have to catch in here too is you're going to have to say, debt has to die. Now, first off, debt does die because the Fed is the driver of this puppy, okay? The Fed has all of your debts. So if they have all of the debts and you're going, no, my local bank has it or Chase Bank has it, they have to apply everything, all loans go right back over here to the Fed. They have to file it. Now let me give you an example of the basic idea of filing. Oh man, it was about 15 years ago. I think it was the Houston Rockets wanted to trade Chris Paul out to the LA Lakers. And they had agreed to the trade, which means it was good for LA and it was good for Houston. The NBA came in and said, nope, you can't make that trade. There's a long story with that too. But they were the governing body of this. The reality is the banks their governing body is the Fed. So they have to place all of the loans through the Fed, which means they are the lender of last resort. And when they're the lender of last resort, they don't just take over the toxic debts and try to get them back into the society or cover them up in some way, which is another debt structure inside the money. But what they do is that they have control of all the debts, and all the debts are set into the compound interest over here. So what happens is that in debt, compound interest kicks you. It's an unpayable loan, meaning that houses have, you're going to pay 2.5 times the price of that house to pay it off. And people go, well, what happens when the prices decrease in houses? Let me just explain that one for a second. So let's just put it this way. Let's say your house is $250,000. Now, some places that's high, and some places that's ungodly low, okay? Just come up with any number you want to, okay? And let's say now it's at $250,000. Well, to pay off that house, you're actually going to have to put $625,000 down over a 30-year period of time. Ish. I mean, pick a number. I don't care which way you want to go with that, okay? So what happens is you're going to pay a ton more for that house just to get this thing paid off. But see, you're not thinking of that way because you're just thinking about your price. Maybe that is $250,000, maybe it's $1,200 a month or something like that. It's because of the compound interest. But what happens, the price of that house might start dropping to $150,000 or lower. And you're going, oh my gosh, my value of my house, this innate value has decreased. But wait a second, you never had anything inside that. You might have put 20% down. What's 20%? That's all you had inside the house. It's $50,000. Now you're so much closer to paying that off. Now, again, the debts go away. But if you bought another house, you're going, well, I sold my house for from $250,000 to $150,000, and then I'm buying another house. But guess what? The other house has had that relative value decrease as well. Let's say you're upgrading because you have a bigger family now. So instead, you're buying in the past, you would have bought a $350,000 house, okay, in the upgrade realm. So you had paid $100,000 more for that house, but let's just say it's now only $225,000. I'm just making up numbers here, okay? The relative distance will actually be better for you overall, okay? And that's the cool thing of this, okay? So you're going to have more ability to purchase things. And this is called buying power in here, okay? So the buying power increases dramatically in here. And that is the great thing that will happen inside of this whole process here. So I think as you look at this system, you're going to find, bring up my notes here. As you look at this system, you have to be calm, chill, because this is what you're so used to. You've been doing this, well, the whole economy's been doing this for 107 years. And now it has to change over into something that is radically, fractionally different. It's at times I say fractionally different because there's just little tiny changes, okay? You're still paying money to buy something, okay? But the values have to be increased. We're going to have a much deeper relationship kind of point. You will not want to get in debt again. Again, the debts are going away, but we can still possibly get into debt. And it's going to be harder to get into debt. And yet when you do, it's going to be harder to get out of it. That's going to be something we're all going to have to learn. How do we live within our means? Some of you know how to do that, but most people do not understand how to live within their means. And we need to start going back and learning what money really is. Don't listen to the stupid people over here that tell you money is too hard. You can understand it. You need to understand it, okay? So I hope that helps you out. Again, make sure you like and subscribe to this video, and then check out Revelations of the Red Pill.